you surround everyone's all the light was fading like the light's back now.
Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I'm Ms. Day. First of all, if you're my subscriber, I wanted you to know that I'm sorry for taking that much time away. I was actually getting a lot of ducks in a row so that I could commit more fully to the YouTube channel, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's really deep and intense about being awakened and about taking that journey and like discovering your own way that I feel is my calling. So I feel like this is something that I get to talk to. You guys are really cool people, and then I'll get into the reading. I'm sorry. I just want you to know that like you are very important to me. And when you let me know like that things are resonating, even the people who are like sending me an email randomly and they're telling me, hey, this meant a lot to me, or like I appreciate it, it's really cool because I get something out of every single reading too, personally. It's like when I say it's a collective reading, it is a collective, like it's an us thing. And I think that's really cool, and I feel like really grateful to be able to do that. So I just wanted to reiterate that every single person has that ability. Here's something. If any of you, I'm also trying to practice what I preach. When I've been telling many of you, if you've already seen videos of mine, and I do feel like there's something different in here, but I keep saying, hey, like in the common theme that keeps coming through to everyone, that keeps coming in my direction, I think that I'm being aligned with and that you're being aligned like with these messages. It feels a lot like if you're like, should I do a YouTube channel? Do it. Do it. Like that's something that I feel like I keep getting asked certain things like that, and I also feel like without the question being asked, I'm getting that message that you need to like step and allow yourself to kind of fumble your way through it. It's like let yourself kind of like just go out there, and this whole thing, this whole reading started with a lot of you that are already aligned with your abilities. You're already aligned with it. I definitely know I'm talking to people who have done like Reiki or even just healing with your hands, through your hands. And when you're doing this stuff, it's like I feel like there's a trust part that grows too. Like as you become more aware of how sensitive you are, there's a trust thing between you and your guides and you and yourself, where you're like, okay, I know that I'm supposed to do this, even if it means I'm taking a leap that I might land, I like might belly flop on it. What the message is like to do it anyway, because every little misstep is the same thing as all of these synchronicities that happen like throughout your days. It's the same thing. So whatever you can do, it's like the word manifest. I'm not saying like, okay, manifest something magical as a result. It's like your action to take a step, to take a risk, that is a manifestation in itself of you. Like that's self-manifestation as it is happening. So like whatever result there is out of you and your forward motion, do it. Like if that's what you're looking for, if you're someone who's like needing a confirmation on something specific that you're thinking or have always been thinking about, like something, this is something I keep thinking too, that I love, that Steve Harvey, I think is his name. I'm very bad with names sometimes. More on that later. So with one of the things that he says all of the time, he's like, oh my gosh, I just lost it because of the names thing. Interesting. I'm just going to go into that actually. There's another part here. I remember. First of all, it's like a passion thing. Everyone has a gift. He says that. That's one of the things I love about like when I used to listen to him all the time. I feel like everyone has a gift, whether it's spiritual. I'm not saying that. I'm saying everyone has a gift. And like it's not always your passion, but it's something that you can do, that you're just like, I don't know why that's so easy for me, but it's something that like I groove into really easily. I feel like the message is take action and trust yourself, and that you're not alone. Like, trust that you're not alone in this next move. Because whoever I'm talking to, the first thing that I feel like is overlying with a lot of us right now, it is the ability to step out and to be seen before you are finished manifesting what it is you want to make happen. It's like, let yourself be seen in the process because you're protected. So, and that's a lot. That's like a lot of us right now. That's so many personal readings. It's like a lot of protective type of feelings that they're wanting us to absorb and really believe and trust as we move forward in our daily lives. So, okay. So the next thing, crazy, because now it's like it's so easy to blip away and to lose a thought, but then like if it matters, it'll come back. So that's another part of this. A lot of you are more open than before. And I don't mean you've been activated, like given a new thing. It's actually, it's like you grabbing hold of the thing you've always had. And so a lot of you, I feel like this might not be all of you, but this feels so big. I feel like this is definitely not all of you. Okay. So there's this moment where it's not like, when you're experiencing someone else's energy, whoever I'm talking to, I think a lot of you think that you have social anxiety. Or you know that you do, but you also know that you sense other people's energy. And I think that a lot of times, this whole thing is about trusting and taking steps forward. First of all, let me just keep that there. But a lot of times, it's like things start to happen, and we start to sense so much, and there's so much pain in this world. So when you open up to it, and your automatic response to emotional stuff like good, bad, in between, if you've already developed what's sort of a habit, like a lot of us, of closing the door to our own connection, to our own emotions inside, due to maybe a threat, or not even a rational threat, but just too much feeling that belongs to others, this is a lot of you, this part. It's like this stems all the way back to how you grew up and who you grew up around and how it was in your environment. And one of the things with this is I'm talking purely energy, so there's no judgment when I'm saying, oh, whoever was around you. But the thing is, the world is so full of pain. So it's like there are so many unhealed people who take steps and then have families, and then they're not sure how to heal, so they start to, their own healing process. And, excuse me, okay. So this goes all the way back to where it's like when you get used to experiencing other people's emotional weight, this is so many readings right now, like personal readings, and just like the feelings that I keep getting. And I knew that this was going to be a crazy, intense reading, and I feel it all in my heart. So there's a dependency issue when it comes to trusting your guides and trusting yourself. So think about the social anxiety thing, and then think about that thing I just said about going all the way back. Is it social anxiety, or is it just your natural reaction? It's going to be both, because anxiety, you're experiencing that physically. But what you're reacting to, that, it's it's more in your control now when your awareness of it is heightened. You have more control now than maybe you did way back then in your vehicle, because your reaction would be, okay, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And it's a lot of times when a child is surrounded by people that kind of have their own issues, whether or not they internalize them or they put them out into the air around you, through behaviors, or and self behaviors, that's, we absorb it all. We absorb energy, we experience it, we put it off, and we interpret it. So it's like this awakened thing that you're experiencing, it's the interpretation part. That's the next step. And that's where like dependency is not the same as stability. That is such a crazy across the board line. And it's like I had it coming at me all week. Longer than a week. Like I think it's been like 11 days since my last video on here. And it's that dependency is not the same as stability. So it's like whoever you are, if you feel like going ahead and going forward, so basically the beginning of this reading felt like there was a lot of wound type stuff absorbed energetically into your systems and into your development, so that when you absorbed too much, and it was kind of like stuff that you weren't prepared to carry as a young person, it's so quick for us to adapt, especially when we're children, to closing that door off and being like, oh my gosh, I don't like those feelings. I don't want to go there again. I don't want to feel those feelings again. I don't like being surrounded by that. So many people now are like, when I'm uncomfortable, I'm removing myself from the situation. That kind of makes us avoid issues instead of interpreting information in a way that can, grow us. So this dependency thing, it's like when you're experiencing, even if you go to the store and you feel like there's so much energy, or maybe I do know that there's like some people in here that when you go to work, and you might not be experiencing this at this exact moment, but like when you're absorbing other people's energy, it feels like too much. I know some of you have gone through that like in early adulthood too. I think that you realized this stuff as a young person. You might be doing it now. And that's another part of this. It's like when you're afraid, when you're literally afraid all the way deep down in your core to depend on yourself because you're afraid of what's going on in there, like when it gets too deep or when it gets like too heavy again, that's when we can also fear depending on other people. And that's fine. I'm not saying depend on other people. I'm saying as far as your guides go, whoever you consider that to be, I'm saying your guides, as in like your highest frequency guides. I don't know if it's one or many, I don't know, but I do know that we all have connection to the highest frequency. There's no possible way that some of us do and others don't. And it really just has to do with your ability to interpret how this interprets it. So it's like, that's why all of the healing stuff, all of the healing work always comes first. When someone's like being awakened, a lot of times the floodgates have to open and things have to pour out. And so it's like the beginning of the reading is a lot about like absorbing other people's wounds and your own, but not necessarily healing from them along this journey. And then the end result, like the end outcome of this reading feels like alignment. Like, no, I'm going to count on, or I'm going to be so stable that I know what is okay in here with me and that I can handle anything, and I know what's okay out here with me because I trust my own judgment. Instead of just having to close doors to certain vibrations or certain people, it's like practicing disengaging from taking theirs on and taking theirs in. It's a choice now. It wasn't a choice way back, like when we were all little, like when we were younger adults even. Like, I know that some of you have experienced that. I don't know if you're experiencing it now, but someone goes to work and experiences feeling everybody's energy, and you know it, and you're like, why am I so aware of them and they are not as aware of them? And I think that it's affected some personal relationships where you'll talk to someone, and this isn't everyone, but this feels like some pockets in there where you'll talk to someone in your close relationships, which I think is I think that's being evaluated right now by you. Cool. It's like the message is, don't focus on the relationship out here getting healed so much as this relationship in here getting healed. Super cool. So it's, and at the same time, the message all through this reading is like, trust your guides, trust your guides, trust them. And that comes in little moments where it's like, I think that disengaging, it's not, I know that a lot of you do this like cleansing and like releasing and getting kind of everybody else's washed out of you, everybody's energy washed out of your body before going to sleep maybe at night. A lot of you, if you don't do that, it is a really good idea, especially if you do have social anxiety. Like, let yourself just release. And even if you don't think that you can do that in a literal magical way, I'm saying literally just visualize pretending that you can breathe it all out by the end of the day. Because I'm talking to people who sense other people. And okay, so in some interactions, I feel like some of you may have those moments with people in your life where whether it's like a coworker or an actual intimate connection, like it's all connection, you know, it's just all in different ways and different levels. But somebody is really evaluating personal relationships, and I feel like you're saying things that you have observed very evidently, you know, in your environment. And I feel like these people, some of these people in your close relationships, or maybe just one, it's like they do not connect to their own information the way that you absolutely connect to other people's information. So it's like, you have to understand that if you do have that ability, then there's really no choice. Like, you do need to go in here and organize. Because if you can clear out this connection so that you can trust whatever comes in, whatever comes at you is not going to break your foundation down, then that's when like it kind of stabilizes. Like, I think some of you that go through the awakening stuff, it's fast and it's overwhelming. And you know what else is overwhelming is when you really want to like clear and organize your relationships. So also, whoever I'm talking to, I think some of you are in a period of isolation right now. And this is something I think that you've almost been pushed into, but you brought it on yourself in the way that you listened. Like, you listened to, you listened to your connection, your own intuition. Like, that's actually high frequency information. Because truth and love are both high frequency when it's coming at you. When like the truth exists in your body and it's negative and low frequency, it doesn't feel good. It causes alarm bells to go off, which you know. Whoever I'm talking to, you know that. So it feels really important that like you understand that you are very, very capable of closing the door energetically to everyone else's. But what the message is here is to get your solid foundation. There's even like, I even like keep seeing someone just being like, and I don't even do that. I don't sit a special way to connect. There are yoga poses I use to like connect. So if you're ever looking for that, you can email me for that type of stuff too. Because when you have the time to really connect with yourself, the other connections actually get easier. And I don't mean they're easier if you keep at them, like, but it gets easier for you when you're like, okay, this is what I've got going for me. This is the vibration I'm willing to experience in this area, which is my home. And it's like, so then when there's any lower vibrations, you can get alarm bells and you know, okay, there are certain avenues that I'm not going to go as far as communicating with this type of person or in this space. And it's like, those little alarm bells are for your good. So if you're getting little hints, someone's getting like nudges too. I feel like I'm talking to people. This is so interesting. So before I was going to do this reading, I got like weird little moments where it made me think of all the houses I've cleared. Because when you do that, like, other people have these really beautiful moments with past loved ones, especially, where like maybe you'll have a past significant, I just want to say a past husband. So if someone in here has a past loved one that's a husband and you miss them, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced feeling like their hand on your, oh, I just hit the microphone, I'm sorry. If you ever experienced feeling like a hand on your shoulder or something where it's like just a comforting type of thing, If you're a medium, if you're aware of like, connecting to past loved ones and stuff, you might already be feeling that. If you're feeling new things on top of this like anxiety type of feeling, hang on. If you're experiencing like touches, almost like pressure, because there's not a literal hand there. There's not a literal hand touching you. So it's like, how do you feel that? The same way that you get images in your mind. The same way that the synchronicities are happening out here and you're noticing them, they will get you however they can get you. Like they're going to communicate with you as soon as you want them to. So if you ask for help, that's another thing. I feel like someone has not only been asking for help, but they're willing to listen. This is not all of you, but some of you that feel this isolation period right now, it's almost like they're trying to assure you this is because you need a moment before stepping into something much more active. Like, I think that your energy is almost like recharging for a moment. So if you're feeling kind of like deflated into an isolation period, you have lost nothing by being alone. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So it's like it comes into the dependency thing where it's like depending on another person to feel less alone. It's like, oh, I'm sorry if that sounds so rude. It's like I just keep feeling like someone needs to know that, and I know some of you already know this, but someone emotionally almost needs to know that, like, the only thing stopping you from feeling excited about freedom is your own lockups in here. Like, there's something in there where you don't feel like you're enough. And this is not everyone, but if this is you, like, they are so solidly saying you are so enough. You're not only enough, you're more. They're giving you teeny tiny little tips to, like, here's another one. I don't know. Someone needs to learn something new instead of just being interested in a whole bunch of different things. That's like really random. But I feel like I even was thinking the constellation, like the star constellations. I don't know. Someone, I feel like while you're feeling isolated, oh yeah, it's like go into those things that make you kind of excited. Like go into those things. How funny is that? Right before the reading, one of the things I thought about, and I was like, that's weird. I've told you that I've like said before that I'm into Disney movies and I love kids movies. And I get sick of kids movies. But anyway, it's like I just kept thinking to myself, I love sci-fi movies. I love sci-fi. I love Halloween movies. Like all the goofy things, even the Amityville horror movie, like I've watched it so much in my youth that it makes me chill out. Like it makes me just feel calm. Kind of like I think some of you with listening to really heavy metal. Like I think that you feel chill when you get to hear that. Ah, okay. So this is the thing. Some of you too, there is a part of this that's coming back now. I just wanted to tell you in the beginning that when you feel all of that energy stuff, and I said, oh, you can disengage, what you need to know before that is how easy it is to block when the floodgates have already poured out. Like once you've poured out and you've healed, there's more room, you're more aware because you're blocking less. You're distracted by less. Because think about this. Have you ever seen, you might have been this person, you might be this person now. Someone who can sit in a mess where you're like, I cannot relax in this room. I mean, some of us are fine in a mess. Some of us are really active in a mess because it's like we're so not interested in all of that around us that we're all here. And I feel like some of you, if you have seen, I'm just going to go there. If you were a teenager with a messy room, or if you are now, or if you're just one of those people who's like moved out and you've never really cared about like fixing things up, how easy it is to block the surroundings is it's like a huge telling point of how easily you can block things inside. So if you're someone who's like very easily, blocks out the surroundings for a creative mode, cool. But if you can block out the surroundings and then distract yourself, this reminds me of something else. Dependency is not the same as stability. I already said that, I know. So one of the things I kept thinking is that someone needs to hear, turn off the noise. Like, I think some of you, this is certainly not all of you, because I feel like there's like one little group in here that's like, you fill silence with things that enrich you, and yet you fill all the silences. Like, there's not a point in your day where you're like doing, maybe you live alone, so it's like gotten easy to like put in the earbuds and listen to like what's going on in the world, or listen to something educational or an audiobook or something. That's all cool and fine. But it's like, I think that some of you are on overkill with that. And some of you, it's to distract. Just like when there's pain in here and it can make you distract yourself from noticing all the wrong that's happening out here. It's like there's almost like they're saying like, turn it off and just see what happens when it's just you. Maybe that's what that dependency thing is too. It just, I keep thinking that like, I just keep thinking that applies to so many things. So many things. Think about even instant gratification things. Where, sorry. Like, think about instant gratification things where you might hurry up and go get fast food because like you finished and you work at home, And it's like, sometimes that's fun, But do you do it every single day because you're not sure what else to do? So it's just a habit. It's like when we depend on our habits, we lose control. And that's where this whole like feeling everyone's energy and feeling the pain of it, it can really weigh you down. Like, I think that it's weighed a lot of children down. All, like a long time ago, all the way into now. And it's like, when you absorb all of these energies around you, you need to do a clearing. Like, you've got to clear yourself out. And not only from today and this week and the stresses that are coming along, but more so like clear all of everybody else's stuff out of the way. And oh my gosh, this is another part of this. Everything about this reading is forward motion, and also trusting that things can be in your favor, just with your teeny tiny intention to experience things on a higher level. It's like, if you're willing to do the work, just keep that at the forefront, because some things going wrong, this is going into a lot of readings too, where it's like in personal readings in the last several days, and it feels so strong in this reading where it's like, make sure that when things happen, how are you responding to them in your body? Because teeny tiny moments where it's easy to become distracted by something negative, when you're vibrating higher and your efforts in life and your goals right now are to grow and vibrate higher, when you're more open to the high frequency, you're more open to the low frequency too. So it's like, if you can experience both of those even more now, it's more important to release all of the negative out of your body, all of everybody else's, even if it's positive, like get all of them out of there, because there's only room for one boss. Like, there's just one authority figure here. And I feel like when you're open to even more levels, instead of getting weighed down like maybe you did in the past, even if that's the recent past, even if you're going through that right now, instead of being weighed down when everybody else's energy is like, oh my gosh, they won't handle their own crap, it's like, take that step and be like, this is because I can handle mine, that I can see that. I can see it because I'm capable of seeing my own low levels. So it's like, take things as your forward motion in a positive way. And this learning thing, some of you I feel like need to learn different things that have some sort of bridgeway to whatever it is that you're working on and you might be stumped at right now. They're like, just open it up a little bit, because I think that you're going to get redirected in the way that it becomes your own. I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm going to end this one there. And I'm definitely going to be getting more readings out there. And there's something else that I'm really working on to do with energy healing that I would like to be able to put into a video, because that's really what my, that's a really big goal that I have, is to help without people having to pay for that, because that's natural. So anyway, I'm going to end it there. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope that you stick around, and I appreciate the ones that have stuck around with me while I was even gone for like 11 days, which won't happen again. Now I'm ready to go. So I hope you have a really great weekend, and I'll see you in the next reading. Okay, bye.